Very characterful vignette, which will be absolutely perfect after it's been painted. Hello, this is VJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'm going to be looking at one of these little kits here, which I quite like. This is Nausicaa from Studio Ghibli's Nausicaa from, what is it? Oh, the Valley of the Wind. So it's one of the very early Studio Ghibli animations, and it's one of the really interesting ones too. And this particular one is actually Nausicaa, which is the main character, riding on her, I guess it's like a bird. It is a bird, it's got a big beak. Horse type riding animal. So, and that's named Kai. So let's have a look at the box art. Now this particular kit is actually quite old. It started life as a kit made by Tsukuda, and then it's been done in some way. I haven't seen an original Tsukuda kit, so I couldn't really tell you what's been done. But when I open it up, you'll be able to see the standard Bandai features of their kits. And this has been very popular simply because they have really nice detail. For an old kit, you expect it to be really soft, but this is actually really good. It's 1/20th scale, which is quite a common scale, I guess. Well, it's not really common, but it's semi-common for the fantasy type science fiction genre. I guess it's a good size for the figure to be a detailed vignette by itself. So it also matches up with 20th scale, which has been used in the larger Machine and Krieger as well. All right, so very nice box art. So you can see here, you've got the official marking from Studio Ghibli. You have some original artwork from the anime, and then you have a painted example here, which is really nice. Okay, so on the side, you've got additional angles, and these always help you with your building and your painting, with your construction of the kit. And then on this side, there's another angle as well. Okay, so inside, we get a variety of different colored parts, and that's the very Bandai part of it. Multi-colored items, and it's also a press fit kit. So I think what they've done is they've what's the word I'm looking for? Recut the mold, I'd say, so that you can see how they can inject the different colors. And then in the process of doing that, they've cleaned up some of the parts as well with the original design. All right, let's have a closer look at all these parts. So we'll take a closer look at this one first. Okay, so we've got 2 sprue in here and some decals. Okay, so you can see right here, this is a very Bandai looking sprue. You've got all your multi-colored pieces there, all pressed together. This would definitely look much better if it was painted, because with certain parts here where you've got the skin tone, this is originally, you have to remember that it was never designed as a color separated kit. So you've got all the skin tone on all the clothing and such, which looks a bit funky. So it still looks okay if you press it together, perfect for first timers or kids, but it will definitely look much better painted. So at least you've got the flesh colors already based, and it's quite popular now in the Japanese painting circles with figures to actually have them in a flesh color and then just tone the original plastic. So you do that with washes and inks, or you can do the standard way of just painting it all completely. Okay, let's have a closer look at each sprue. Let's have a look at this one. This one has most of the figure. You can see Nausicaa's head right here. Let me just zoom it in so we get a bit right here. Oh, going the wrong way. There we go. So you can see how she's very, very nicely sculpted. I imagine the original sculpting of this went back to the 80s. And you can see just from these close-ups how clean the sprue is. There's no flashing at all, which you'd expect from an old kit. So you can see how it's been remade. You've got arms. It's quite nice with the material there. Oh, there's the head again. Okay, so you've got the legs. The stirrups there. There's a rifle in the blue. Top of the helmet. These parts look like parts of the stirrup as well. Okay, so that's that first sprue. Now let's have a look at the second one. You've got a nice base here. So you've got this plinth design. So you could paint that up to replicate wood, or just make it black just to highlight the actual surface here. You can see how the surface has been textured as well. Another giveaway to it being pressed together, you can see the very large locating lug. Over here, we'll just spin this around. You can see the sides of the hood. The body here. And the body, and that's also, I can't remember what this particular critter is, but that's the little big-eared sort of squirrel-looking creature. There's the front of her torso. And again, you can see the big lugs for taking the arms. And then we get onto the brown parts. Okay, so you've got a sword in a scabbard. So a short sword, long sword. You've got some of this, the pack accessories for hanging on the side of Kai. You've got this. This is, I guess, this is like the gas mask because of the poisonous gases. And that's also for Kai. I think these are actually hanging on the side of the saddle. And again, you can see how very cleanly molded everything is. And nicely separated with some color. Okay, so we've got those. And then we have our final set of sprue. Let's move that out of the way. I'll have a look at the decals in a moment. Okay, these are all molded in a blue-grey. Again, there's two pieces. And this is mainly Kai. Okay, so Kai, being the bird, it's got all the feather detail as well. What do we have here? So we've got these are the inners of the legs. Okay, because the legs will be hollowed on the other side, as you can see. The rear section with all the feathers. Got parts of the head here. And then the beak. The beak was actually, before. It's a part which I thought was a hood. This will be the beak here, this section here. Okay, let's have a closer look at these bits. Okay, so here you can see how this is the extended leg of Kai into the bodywork. Oh, not the bodywork, the actual body. Got the saddle just sitting here, and you'll have the stirrups hanging off. Got a little locating lug there that'll hold on Nausicaa's leg. Quite nice detail on all the feathers. So it's not bland at all. Something like a sort of old kit like this, you expect that. All right, you can see these are the sides of the head. There's the beady eye, and then you've got on the other end. There's a tail section right there. And then there's a toe with a big talon. There's a big foot, which is actually mounted into the base. And then you've got some other parts here, which would be parts of the body with the feathers. So as you can see, those feathers are really nice. And on the other side, there's feather detail in there as well. So for an old kit that's been remastered by Bandai, so that's the word, remastered is what I wanted to say earlier. These are really quite spectacular. Okay, so let's have a closer look. Actually, since I've got that all zoomed in, let's have a look at the decals. All right, so the decals are these. Okay, and these are eye decals. So there's 3 sets in case you make a mistake. So even though decals are easier than painting, they're not the easiest things to put on. So it's great how they give you 3 sets to use there. Okay, so they're the decals. Let's move that aside. And then we come up to the manual. Okay, so the manual is a sheet like this. So you've got the photographic examples of a painted version. And you definitely see how painting is going to help this, because otherwise all of the clothing is going to be flesh color, which is going to look a bit nude. Okay, as we spread this open, additional examples for painting, and then the color guide itself. So certain colors they're recommending to mix to get the right shade. That's if you want to get it studio correct. You could just use these as a guide here, just work as close as you can. Over here is the guide on how to apply the decals for the eyes. And then as we spin it over, folds open, and we have the legend of all the parts here, so you can find what number is which on which sprue. And then we start the construction stage. Okay, so part number 1 is putting together the body of Kai. Part 2 is finishing off Kai. You've got the tail section, mounting the leg onto the base, and then you've got more of the tail, and then building up the head and the beak. Part 3 will start putting together Nausicaa. So she's holding the reins in her hand, head, arms go onto her body, and then you start doing the legs, foot through the stirrups. All of these sub-assemblies are put together to make the main figure, and then you have her helmet, or I guess it's like a, the front visor of the helmet is attached. And the figure is placed on top of Kai. You've got the sacks or the ruck packs that go on the side. You've got your large sword, which is attached to the side of Kai, and then a small sword, which is on the back of Nausicaa. And then this little critter here is put onto Nausicaa's shoulder. And then you've got the large rifle, which is in her hand. Here's the, what is it, like a gas mask for Kai, and that's hung from the side of the saddle. And that's it. Oh, actually, there's more here. Okay, so there's another bit here. It's got a little bit of a story from the actual animation. Really nicely drawn images, so line drawings from Studio Ghibli. And it's all in Japanese, but you could always use one of those Google Translate or other types of translators from your phone just to work out what's being said there. So there you go. That's my open box review of Nausicaa with Kai. And this is a Bandai kit, which has been remastered from an early Tsukuda kit. Even though it's old, it is a really nice, very characterful vignette, which will be absolutely perfect after it's been painted. So thank you for watching.